While we've been focusing on the pandemic lately, Brexit hasn't gone away. Or I should say, problems of Brexit haven't gone away. The port of Dover being the latest crisis. Media reports are saying that Dover port is not ready for Brexit. Why? Because it still hasn't received funding for necessary infrastructure that needs to be put in place in order to conduct new border operations. Now, this is at the same time as the government is looking at forcing lorries to get a Brexit-type passport before they're permitted to enter Kent. This is an attempt to avoid tailbacks that are likely to take place in January, just after the UK leaves the Brexit transition period. A spokesman for EU Exit, which is part of the Dover port, has said that the government, and I quote, was cutting it quite tight due to the fact that about 100 days remain before the new system is implemented. The government is still talking about funding, but hasn't committed to anything as of yet. Now, Tim Reardon, who is the head of EU Exit at Dover Port, was speaking at a Treasury Select Committee this week when he told them, and I quote, "The government has a funding scheme which is due to open for application later this month. This clearly is cutting it quite tight for stuff to be actually delivered and in place when significant civil works are involved by early next year." Now, this comes after a government document was leaked where it predicted up to 7,000 lorries could be piling up on the roads around British ports because drivers, ports and carriers are not ready for Brexit from a paperwork point of view. The government have also raised the prospect of having a separate border within the UK for Kent. Remember when the Brexiteers and Boris Johnson talked about how no UK Prime Minister would stand for a border down the Irish Sea as it would slice up the UK? Well, they seem to be willing to put a border in Kent. The Labour Party have asked who would monitor this. Would officers be needed to police this border? The mind boggles. Actual confirmation of the Kent Access Permit, this passport for drivers to cross this border in Kent, and the details of it are expected next week when the second border operation model is issued by Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs. But perhaps in some more positive news, on the other side of the UK, it seems that there's been some small progress being made over the issue of goods moving from Great Britain to Northern Ireland, which was one of the sticking points in the Brexit negotiations. It seems that security declarations will be removed from a final deal. Now, the UK and the EU are still negotiating, remember. Any new system needs a huge amount of time before it's implemented, to be tested and for its users to become accustomed to it. What is happening at Dover and other ports runs the risk of absolute chaos in January. This could mean shortages of food and other essential goods. You could see unrest at ports as lorry drivers whose livelihoods are put in jeopardy, and you could also see the government facing a backlash. Boris Johnson and the Tories will no doubt blame the EU for any problems we will see in January, but it is important for the media, the opposition parties and citizens not to let them get away with this. Excuses should not be accepted. Solutions must be demanded. Just as a side note, since the threat of a no deal was first raised by the British government, Ireland and the EU have been attempting to find a way around the problem and find a way for Irish goods to travel to the EU and bypass the UK entirely. Now, while this will be expensive, it is deemed more feasible than attempting to cooperate with the UK government. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot. I want to say a big thank you to all of my patrons. You ensure that this channel continues to exist. I'm eternally grateful for all of your support. If you join Patreon, you will receive instant access to our Discord server, where we have both audio and video chats. You can chat with me and other patrons, where we discuss important and non-important issues. Becoming a patron per month costs about the same as a large coffee, so why not check it out?